So you want me to say that like now, and then you're gonna record the regular thing and then edit it in, or how does that work?
We'll find it out, but it's probably actually going to intro the video.
Suck it, nerd.
Welcome back, duelists. It is the beginning of the North America World Championships coming around the corner, as well as a new Forbidden Limited list. The prices are spiking across the board, especially now that we know they're not going to be in Rarity Collection 2. So today we have a very special market watch with the guest here that is here to feed our addiction to cardboard, and that is YGO Fresh Off the Press. So please, YGO Fresh Off the Press, tell us a little bit about yourself, about your channel, and what got you into the Market Watch game.
Of course, great question. Yeah, we're here to feed that cardboard addiction, guys. That's what got me in, man. Honestly, I'm addicted to Yu-Gi-Oh. I mean, I'm an addict, okay? I'm sorry, guys. That's just it is what it is. That's what got me to content creation. I've always been an addict of Yu-Gi-Oh. In a good way, obviously. But that passion that I've had, just addicted to the cardboard, to buying, to selling, just inspired me. Of course, shout out to House of Champs, YGO Paisano. To me, they're legends. They're Market Watch legends. Shout out to Saki as well. That's my guy. Just so many great people here in the Yu-Gi-Oh community. So many people that have helped me through my journey. And again, it's still early, a year and some change in, but and shout out to Vengeful as well. Thank you so much for inviting me on. It's a pleasure. Had him on, by the way, and we will have him on soon on our
Yeah,
channel.
thank you
So
for
stay
having me
tuned.
on, man. Thank you for having
Of
me on.
course, of course, yeah. So, yeah, if you're watching this, if you don't know who I am, I'm gonna explain myself in just a bit, but you can also go sub because we're gonna have Vengeful as well, pretty soon. So yeah, I mean, just so many people on the journey inspire me, honestly, just to take action, to put myself out there and to do what I do best, which is market watches. We always talk about, cards to buy, cards to sell, the latest and greatest with our daily market watches over there on the channel. So yeah, I mean, the inspiration just came for the passion and the love for Yu-Gi-Oh, and just trying to get the penny stocks, the cheap cards. That's what I always talk about on the channel, just the 2X's, the 3X's, the 5X's, the multiples. And we always focus on the data, the charts as well. We're big on that over there at our community. So yeah, if you can appreciate anything, with regards to that, definitely take, a little bit of your time and swing by, maybe show some love, maybe hit us up. And can't wait to have Vengeful on over there for sure. But yeah, let's get it, man. Let's talk about some cardboard. I'm ready.
Oh, yeah, and guys, definitely go check them out on YouTube as well as X. Both are always very helpful to all the creators out there because you never know. Some players just use one and not the other. So having them subbed on both and followed on both is very, very important. Is there any hobbies outside of Yu-Gi-Oh that you actually do? Or is Yu-Gi-Oh kind of like your main one?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, man. I mean, yeah, I mean, I could rant on forever, like just rant and rant. Because I mean, I'm a guy that played basketball growing up. I love basketball. Something that I've done as an adult, recently is crypto as well. So I really enjoy and do crypto. I mean, is it really as a hobby? I mean, it's investing. It's a little bit more serious, but I really
Yes,
enjoy
I love
doing
it.
that. Yeah, I do that, and then gaming as well. I need to poop on kids and teabag people on Halo. You guys already know. We're good at market watches, but we're also good at Halo. You know what I mean? So we got to take
Yes.
advantage of the skills and just poop on kids and just give them the bag. You know what I mean? So for me, those are the four loves of my life. Obviously, other than my family and my wife and my daughter, but those are the main things: just basketball, crypto, gaming, and obviously Yu-Gi-Oh. And to me, Yu-Gi-Oh's at the pinnacle. That's why this is the main channel and the one that I do for a living per se, daily market watches. So I keep the main thing, and that's a priority. But yeah, I also like to do those activities, in my spare free time.
No, I know. I noticed that after we were on together with X and added again. Shout out to Player X for having us on.
Mm,
That's actually how me and
mm.
Fresh did meet. We were on Player X's end of the year semi-limited podcast, and that
Yes,
was a blast. So honestly, that
fire,
was great. Right
fire,
after we messaged and added, I saw you're on Master Chief Collection. I was like, wait a minute. This is gonna be
fire.
great. That's when you know. That's when you know it's gonna be a good time.
For sure,
No,
those are the
we're
signs.
exactly. It's the signs, and so you got all sorts of market watches up. Like you said, it is very much a daily thing, and I'm just going down the channel right now, just showing everyone, and it's clean and it's very noticeable. And that's one of the things I really like about the channel is it's like I know when it's yours. You know, what I mean, I know when your video's popping up into the feed, and that is definitely something that's super recognizable. So I do have a question. I'm sure a lot of players would like to know your opinion. With the actual Infinite Forbidden being released literally the same week that we're actually seeing the North America World Championship qualifiers. Um, what are we thinking the prices are going to be like for these cards, whether it's for the actual Fiendsmith, the Hand Trap Perulea, which is kind of a makeshift Max C, or even the Link 1 of the Fiendsmiths? Like, what are your thoughts on the prices, like before like the Nationals, as well as like after, like where they're going to be settling down to?
Of course, that's an amazing question. I mean, when it comes to the Infinite Forbidden, booster set, the booster box, the core set, everyone wants to get their hands on it. But this one is unique where it comes out like literally right before the biggest event of the year. So I think that's an important factor. I think it's going to be overhyped, honestly, in a sense where, of course, I get the need for it. So the hype, certain level of hype is understandable.
Yes.
But when I mean overhype, is the demand will be so great that people will be willing to overpay for cards that are just not worth that. And we'll see that most likely right after the event, where I don't see we're going to get a crash like to, if the card is $100, it's going to be 20 or 10s. No, that's not the point. But maybe you paid $100 for a card and maybe it's 65. That's possible. So you're down $35. Just it feels like what overnight. You go to the event one weekend and then you wake up Monday morning, and that could be expected. Of course, like I always say on my channel, it's all speculation. There's no way to truly know. None of this is official financial advice. It's for entertainment purposes only. My opinions, but I usually just say in the sense, approaching a set like this, everyone needs it. Everyone wants the cards, especially people that are at Nats. And we're talking about thousands of players attending that event, most likely needing most of these cards. So I expect price spikes along the way. Especially even through the pre-sales, just the demand coming in, people getting ready for that main event. So I believe this one will be a little bit different. For other core sets, things of that nature, it's better to just wait, sit it out. But for people that are competing, you can't tell them to wait. They literally need the cards for that weekend, and that's understandable. Me, if I would be going to nationals, I won't lie. I would put need before like the worry about risk, or if I'm spending or using too much money on those cards. We're talking about the biggest event in Yu-Gi-Oh of the year. So that's to me an exception. I don't see that as the norm. If you're going, if you need it, people most likely paying premium. So I can see either all or at least most of these cards, the main cards that you mentioned, being in excess of $75 to $100 on release. Maybe that's low. Maybe we see due to the hype, maybe triple digits for these cards for sure. So that's what I'm expecting, because just they're literally coming out like that's smart by Konami, because people are gonna be cracking these boxes open before, buying from the pre-sales, and if some stores and locals get the boxes in like on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So a lot of people are going to be going to their locals, trying to just get as many of these boxes. There'll probably be people on Friday, going to big retailers, over there in Texas, I mean, that's a possibility. Just while they're flying in, they're like, man, where's a Walmart, bro? Let's go buy some boxes or something. You know what I mean? Just an example, or just some product or packs or whatever that they have there. Just a saying, like the demand is going bonkers. It'll most likely be out of this world. So me as an investor though, like if I market watch, what should we be looking at, Jay? Should I be buying? Should I be selling? Me, I wouldn't touch these cards unless I need them. That's just me. Now I still think that they will continue to retain a lot of value post Nats in the long term, because it's a core set. It won't get reprinted most likely this year, most of these cards. So that's good. It should retain long-term value, most of these cards. And again, they won't get hit on the upcoming ban list most likely because they're new cards. That's just the way it is, right? So in the sense of long-term value for the rest of this year into early next year, I think these will be great pickups. It's just I wouldn't be picking up the pre-sales, and I wouldn't be picking these up on the weekend of release, heading into Nats if I'm not playing. That's just me. Again, I always say on the channel, patience wins this game. I like to sit on the sideline, just let the supply come in, let the markets do its thing, and then we buy on the cheap end. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh!, especially when you get to the market side, it's a marathon, not a race. So you got to go for the long term, not that short little, sprints. So that's how we kind of like to look at things. But
Exactly.
so given that we're actually seeing, like you were kind of bringing up the main points, that this is on the exact weekend of Nationals, and we're seeing that I think a lot of the rarities were seeming to be leaked out today, or at least with the giant cards, a lot of players were kind of theorizing that Fiendsmith is a secret, Purulia might be a secret, and a lot of players were a little saddened because we saw that the actual like Fire Princess was an ultra, the Populous was an ultra. So I think a lot of players were actually hoping to get a lot more ultras out of this set of the main stuff. But as a lot of players did note, Konami didn't really need to think about that because we're going into the nationals. Like as you mentioned, the number 1 or number 2, only 2 worlds, the biggest event of the year, definitely the
That's
biggest
true.
for us,
That's
definitely the
true.
biggest for us, you know. But
Mhm.
that is going to make it where players have to dump into these cards if they want to have that competitive edge. And like you mentioned, unless you are going to be going into nationals that weekend, it might be smart to wait a week or two, let prices cool off, because definitely they're going to be going down and they're probably a little bit back up a little bit after that, but not to the
Right.
same hikes that we're going to see on these pre-sales.
Right.
So you're thinking like potentially 75 to triple digits for some of these cards. I would actually very much agree, especially for the makeshift maxi or the triple Fiendsmith engine itself. Like a lot of players play 3 of the Fiendsmith monster in the main deck. And as we know, if you play 3 of a card, especially in the main deck, those prices get pretty hefty on those searchers. So I
For
definitely
sure.
think that those are going to be spiked in price at the pre-sale. Quick question. Do you think we're going to get a ban list before Nats, or is it going to be after?
That's a great question. I mean, honestly, I thought, that we wouldn't get a list beforehand. And who knows? It's all speculation. We'll see. Because I think they would just let it play out. The last list came out like 2 months ago or something. It hasn't even been that long. So I think, they had the opportunity, if they really wanted to nuke something, to do it back then. But I think that now with the OCG ban list coming out, I've changed my stance, because to me that's a sign. To me that's a sign that if the OCG had a ban list, usually once they do it, like a week or two or whatnot, a couple of days later or whatnot, usually we get ours as well. So now that has me thinking. I mean, we're like 3 weeks out. So I think that before the 3 weeks are up, we might get a ban list before Nats. I did not expect that. But the OCG ban list is like a sign. I'm looking at it like a sign that, they might just nuke a couple of cards. And maybe, I think this ban list, though, if we get one, I don't think it'll be one of those major ban lists that, nukes everything and changes the meta and, like, I think it would be more like they're making room a little bit, just slapping the wrist, so that the new
Yeah.
Fiendsmith cards and the new cards that are coming out right before Nats to immediately compete. Like literally, day one per se literally comes out that Friday, like that same day, or I think it starts on Saturday, like the actual event or whatever. But whenever it starts, Konami probably wants people to compete immediately with Fiendsmith. They don't want Fiendsmith to go against full power Snake. I'm not saying that it can't take it or it can't beat it, or if you mix it up with this deck, you can't take over the event. I'm not saying none of that necessarily. What I am saying is that Konami probably, if they have a ban list, they'll put slap in the wrist. Snake Eye, you're too dominant. Let's, slap in the wrist right there. Maybe, Asha 2 or let Flamberge hit right there, or, let's hit this, let's hit that. Maybe that's a possibility. But that's what I would expect from a ban list. It wouldn't be like full blown. I think the next ban list after that, that's when you can see if it would happen, like, Apple hit, or, some people are
Yeah.
calling
Yeah.
for these crazy, bigger. I think they won't hit like an Appaloosa. Let's
No,
say they hit a
I
next
agree with
list.
you.
Like
Yeah.
technically, yeah, I don't think they would hit it
Yeah.
on this one. It would be more one like just control things. Just, let's get a list out. People like, okay, they brought something. They hit this, they hit that, just to even the playing field. So that's the way that I would see it with regards to that.
Yeah, no, I don't think if we would get a list, like I would agree with you that it wouldn't be that much. And even when we do get a list, I don't think we're gonna like, even if it's an after nationals list, I don't think we're gonna see Apple or IP on it anytime soon. As
Exactly.
we kind of mentioned, like Rarity Collection kind of dictates a little bit more than I think players
Right.
want to admit. And with IP and Apple being money cards, like some of the best sellers in that set, they're gonna wait at least one more format. And then if they actually trim stuff enough to not see it in those following formats, we could see it actually kind of go into more formats after that, actually, kind of where, we might get IP or Appaloosa just a little bit longer, but they are definitely on the chopping block, just not of yet. I honestly don't think we'll see a list beforehand, and that's because I think they want to see a good representation of how Snake Eyes Fiendsmith works, and I do believe
Mm,
they actually tack the Fiendsmith engine in Snake Eye, because
mm.
whenever the tuner drops, it's a level 1. So it actually does kind of feed into their combo line a little bit more. So I kind of wouldn't be surprised if we see just some insane, like tier 0 level, like Snake
That'd
Eye
be crazy.
Fiendsmith, like
That'd be crazy.
$3,000 decks getting thrown around. And like, I think that'd be hilarious and actually like really, in a way, very entertaining
Oh
to
man.
watch, you know? So
Right.
I kind of hope we get to at least see some craziness if we're going to be going that far. I'm sure many players would not like that at all, but I do believe that's something we might actually be seeing. And then right after, either during the Nationals or the week literally following Nationals, is when I expect to be seeing this ban list dropped. As you said, it is still a little bit early for the ban list technically, and I think the reason a lot of players are actually thinking it's going to be coming sooner than later is A, Nationals, and B, we just kind of saw how broken some of these decks can be. You just go combo, flip up the skill drain, get rid of it on your turn, and just win the game right there. So it is definitely time for the ban list. And I was watching your take on the skill drain. I hope it doesn't go to 0 either, man. I hope it just stays
Yeah.
at 1. Like, honestly, I just want it to
Yes,
go to
please.
6. Just
Please.
it's
Yeah,
just fine.
right. Why only
It's
3, right?
yeah, run
I mean,
MST,
come
man. Run
on.
MST. What's wrong with players? So that's kind of the takes that we have on the going into the pre-national season. And again, prices are just spiking all over, and it's nothing to be too, I guess, worried about. This is going to be happening over and over again. But the biggest thing of why I wanted you on is some cards that you have been actually looking into personally and just talking about maybe on your channel, or even cards that you might not have brought up on your channel as of now. Not too sure which ones these are. But what is one card that you've actually been looking into recently as a market watches?
Yes. So actually, you guys are gonna get a sneak peek to tomorrow's market watch over there on the channel, which will be about Battles of Legend, Terminal Revenge. So yeah, just decided to go with 5 cards from the latest and greatest reprint set that we have on hand. A lot of people, just a lot of demand for some of these cards. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna start off with obviously Phantom of Yubel. I mean, this card, the demand is crazy. The fact that finally the deck gets the fusion that it's been waiting for, just that one card that could come on the field and actually even the playing field per se. It's amazing that we actually got this card. Now again, it came out at 84 billies or $84 and now down to 65s. I mean, that's a $20 dump right there. So not bad, not bad. Honestly, if it would be to play, I would definitely be considering picking this card up right now. Yeah, could it go down to 60s, maybe in the 50s? Anything is possible, but just due to the demand that it will continue to come in, because it's a deck that most likely competes even post Nats as well. That, and they can actually fit in the Fiendsmith engine as well. So I see legs for this deck, and that's what really matters with a card like Phantom of Yubel. That it's good heading into Nets. It'll be good post Nets. The card just came out. Don't see a reprint coming for this anytime soon. So I think this card will retain its value into the short term future. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see this card at 70 to 75 sooner rather than later. Honestly, if you ask me, because it's just the demand, the supply and demand factor. Look at that, people. If you guys check the latest sales, people coming in droves, just buying this card up. You got to remember that Yubel is a fan favorite deck archetype, that from ages ago. So it might even be bringing people back that didn't play Yu-Gi-Oh anymore, that that see, wow, we got like new Yubel cards and things of that nature, and finally the last piece to be able to fully compete in a meta format. So I'm actually excited for this card as well. So we'll see what happens with this one. So yeah, I don't know if you want to share some thoughts with regards to this card.
Definitely. Oh no, definitely. And Phantom of Yubel is, like you were mentioning, one of the fan favorite cards in this set. At least many players were just so disappointed when they saw it was kind of like the Shonen Jump exclusive over in Japan. And then since they snuck it into the terminal world, a lot of players are hyped. And Yubel probably isn't going anywhere. As you mentioned, the Fiendsmith engine is incorporated in Yubel, and honestly, that is just going to be seen in the future. I've been seeing many prominent players like actually testing the deck with Yubel and the Fiendsmith, and it is just getting better and better. And in the future, that I don't see Yubel getting hit. I don't see any of the engines getting hit. So I think it is actually a solid pickup moving into the future.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah. So I mean, at card number 2, we have Lancia, Ancestral Dragon of the Ice Mountain. So again, just more ice barrier support. This card has impressed me, honestly. We talked about it when it was like $4, $5, $6. And if you go down to the chart, you can see that spike, man. That spike from, it says here 750s. It was lower than that. I mean, the chart
Yeah.
just went up so much that it's spiking like crazy, getting sales even at the $16 range. That's mind boggling. Basically two, three xing overnight essentially. That's insane. I mean, you do see the lowest listings there at around 13, 14 bucks. 54 listings only in the market. So again, there's a lot of ice barrier players. Again, that's what I like that Konami's doing that as of late. They're bringing back like support for older deck archetypes. You know, Yubel, Lightsworn, ice barriers. You know what I mean? And then Six Sams are coming next. So I mean, I really like that they're not just bringing new stuff. You know, new cardboard into the scene in the sense of like just brand new deck archetypes. Not only that, but they're also being more inclusive to the older deck archetypes, and I like that. That keeps a fine balance. You know, there's a lot of people that really love how these decks work and how the new cards and how they look and everything. So it's understandable. I honestly didn't think that this card would be double digi so quick. But yeah, I mean, right now at 13, 14, maybe wait for a retracement back down to tens. That'd be your best bet. You know, if you're on the sidelines. But again, if you need it, you might have to be paying a premium right now. But honestly, this is a card that I think it's a little bit overhyped right now in the sense just looking at the chart, because I get it. Maybe, you know, the supply is not as much as people think, but I think, you know, some walls might be coming in here to compete, you know, with some of these sellers and pushing the price down. Especially again, this is just what, like week one or something. Like, we need to forget that a lot of people that really need it are coming in to get it. But then once those people run out of gas, I think the supply comes in, and then, you know, we see a little bit of a retracement back down to the mean with those charts, giving, you know, better opportunities for some people to pick this up. I don't think it goes back down to $4 to $5 anytime soon. Now, if ever, we'll see, unless it gets a reprint. But yeah, this is one that I believe it's a tad bit overhyped, but you also understand that, you know, it's ice barriers. People need it. It just came out, and it won't get reprinted anytime soon. So that's my take on this card.
Yeah, no, and this is definitely one of the main cards that we were going to be seeing come out of this set that players were hyped about. As you said, like Ice Barrier fan favorite, and this is just being another one of the main monsters that we're actually seeing them utilize. Honestly, like you mentioned, going back down to fours, I do not see that happening. I could see, as you were mentioning, cooling off probably $10. It's hard for cards to like dip back down under like into single digits like that fast once they've like surpassed them. So I'm not really seeing it go back down. So the players are like, I would need it at 9.99. It's like, just get it at
Right.
10.07, man. Like, okay,
Right.
it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Trust me.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I get it, but it's probably gonna just stay around like what you were mentioning. And then in the future, if it were to be utilized, which definitely is possible given it actually has some decent effects, like we could see this going up in price. I'm not sure on the ratios of like what have been pulled, but as we see,
Right.
you don't see like a seller with like 300 of this card on the market, so that it actually gives a little bit more segue to like in reasoning to why it might go up in the future.
That's a great point. The supply and demand analysis
Yes.
right there. I like it. I like it. I love it. Yeah, going into card number 3, we have Substitute. I mean, again, this card, just the demand has been going bonkers. I mean, you literally, if you go down to the chart, you can see a V-shaped recovery. That's what we like to call it on this channel over there. Just literally, it's like if, you know, a little kid drew a V on the chart. That's a strong sign. That's a strong sign. That's indicating that the supply and demand battle has been, you know, basically being won by the demand, because the supply came in, people didn't care. They gobbled it up, and it literally made a new all-time high in price right there. Even though it's a new chart, we don't have that much data on it. But the whole point is that this card, it's an Edison card. I mean, a lot of people have, you know, frogs in Edison, and now they can get shiny Substitute at single digits. They're gonna come in. They're gonna come in. They're gonna take advantage of these deals. I mean, this card was, it says down there 721s. There was some deals at under that $4 to $5. So again, just to see this card come out, be beautiful secret rare. Honestly, if you look at the artwork of this card, just an amazing secret rare. You can't fight against. I mean, I want the card. I don't play it. I don't use it, but I see it. I want it. You know, no one wants those old rares unless you're like an OG collector. You need them first at OGs, I guess. But this secret rare reprint, honestly, I think it will retain its value. I mean, we see usually post V-shaped recovery, we get a retracement back down to the mean. So I would, you know, just measure this down halfway on the chart right there. So around 850, maybe $8. I mean, we're at nines right now. So not too long. 750 would be that floor price. I mean, unless like big wall of China comes in and pushes this down to fives, but I don't see it happening. Why? Because this card, again, Edison demand. A lot of players want it, max rarity as well. So yeah, I think this one will hold. I think the demand will push this back up eventually up to double digits. Yeah, that's what I think about this one.
Oh no, Substo was one of those cards that, like, if you were holding on to the $60 ones and were wanting to get more value out of it, that was a dangerous call, you know, because this was definitely going to happen. And then people were like, "Oh,
Right.
the what is it, Light of Destruction reprint set,"
Yeah.
and it was just like, "We got our new rare Substitutes." And it's like, nah, man, we're getting a hollow for this thing, okay? And the secret rare was definitely the rarity to put it in because, as you said, it's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Honestly, any of these like later secrets we've actually been receiving, they are really nice looking. I've actually been appreciating how much care they've been taking into the secret rares. Now to do that for our ultis and collectors. Anyways, but no, secret rare Substo, beautiful. As you remarked, it like was tanking in price, and then players took advantage of that and immediately shot right back up to where we were probably assuming it was going to be to begin with, considering people were paying what they were paying on the rares. So this card is definitely a card that if players needed it, they went out and got it. And if you still need it, I would get it sooner than later, because as this set rotates out, we're going to be seeing this card definitely could go up in the future. And then honestly, since we're going into the year of the water, it seems like it wouldn't surprise me if Konami goes in and gives one of their favorite archetypes a little bit more support, being frogs. So definitely go out and get your copies of Substitute sooner rather than later.
I mean, 100%, man. You couldn't have said it any better, honestly. Great take. I mean, here we have Spiritual Beast Tamer Lara. I mean, for this card, it's a beautiful card, honestly. I mean, you see the secret rare, man. I'm really enjoying the art. The art on some of these Yu-Gi-Oh cards as of late, they just look too fresh off the press, honestly. Just like the channel over there, just like my channel, fresh off the press. Just look at it. Look, I mean, you look at this card, and it's a beautiful artwork. But then again, it also has implications with the sense of new spiritual beast and ritual beast support. A lot of people, need this card and want this card. You can see the spike on the chart. It used to be a 13 Billy card, $13, and going up to all the way to 22s, 23s. That's impressive, guys. That's almost a 2x, because it was a little bit lower than 13s. I believe some people sniping these up, at around 12s, 11s. So basically up a 2x. You know what I mean? That's a strong move, and it happened suddenly. People didn't expect it. You know what I mean? And the demand is here. It should hold 20 strong, maybe dip down to the teens, providing a couple of deals here and there. But I believe this card, it can easily be a $25 card than a $15 card right now, just due to the demand being a secret rare, just coming out, not getting reprinted anytime soon. So the potential is there again. When you see older, look, this is another one. Ritual Beast here receiving cards again. Look, you had what, Light Sworns, now Ritual Beast, Frogs. I mean, just all these decks receiving reprints and receiving, 6 Sams later, and everything that we've been talking about today. Just all these decks receiving brand new, fresh off the press pieces of cardboard that intertwine with their decks, and that gets a lot of people hyped, a lot of people excited. This is one that has surprised me as well. Just like the Synchro Monster did, the Ice Barrier one that we just talked about it, when they were 10s, 11s, 12s, no one saw this pump like this fast. That's the key, and it happened. So, yeah, I mean, if you need this card, you're going to have to pay a premium. Honestly, just looking at the charts, I would wait for some type of retracement, maybe hit the teens again, maybe just wait for those couple of deals before, digging in. Because usually when you have these spikes, people come in and they take profits. People come in, they're like, oh, man, I bought mine at 10s, 11s, 12s. This is 22s. Oh, I'm selling right now. And then that sell pressure comes in and usually pushes the card's price down a little bit. So I would just wait, honestly, for supply to come in and then try and snipe up this card.
Oh no, 100%, because we only see 42 other listings of this card, so it's actually very, very much not in demand. Like, right, or like, I mean, the price of its hype, but like the demand will be coming through as people are trying to offload the copies that they have. Maybe they don't even know that it's high up there yet, because I mean, that's what happens. Players have cards, they don't know the prices went up. They wait for the market watch to come out. They're like, wait a minute, oh, I have that card. I want to get rid of that. So I definitely could see more of these coming onto the scene, definitely lowering the price just a little bit on that. And honestly, I'm kind of like more intrigued of what caused like the double in price. You know what I mean? It's like, did a combo happen? Was like something leaked with the deck? You know how it happens. Like combos get leaked. They're like, wait a minute, with this one new support card coming out that actually takes this to a whole new level, whether it's a spiritual beast support or even support like the Fiendsmith. Maybe there's something that could utilize that as like a tech. But I'm not certain. I have no idea why it doubled, but it's actually really interesting to see it go up that quick, that fast in 2 days for just a spiritual beast card. So I think that's a very, very interesting card to be keeping the eyes on at the very least.
Yeah, that's a great point. Just to piggyback off it, I mean, there's people that if they had Ritual Beasts and they see this card out, I'm sorry, this card come out, they're like, give me three. Why? Is meta implication? Do you really need it? Are you going to use all those copies in your deck? I don't care. Just give me three. There's a new Ritual Beast, Spiritual Beast card. It looks beautiful. Secret Rare just came out. Give me three. You know what I mean? So that demand of all the Ritual Beast players out there, just that community probably coming in and, spiking this card up, especially with low supply. So that's definitely a great take. And yes, my last card here out of the top five would be Oil. So again, just top five cards from Battles of Legend that I wanted to review with you today, cards that I would be looking at. And again, my video tomorrow will be talking about these cards and many more. So make sure you guys stay tuned. But Oil, man, when I saw this artwork, I'm like, I need this card. I'm like, I'm gonna wait for a Billy, I'm gonna wait for $1, and I'm gonna pick up an R9, and I'm gonna have this beautiful card. Why? Because just look at the art. I mean, Oil, a factory, man. We have a factory there just chilling. Oil, the name is Oil. I saw this. I'm like, I need this card, man. Just give me three. But then when I saw the price, I'm like, I don't need it no more, man. $5. I'm like, get out of here, man. I ain't paying no $5 for no oil. Man, that's more than a tank of gas, bro. Get out of here,
oil.
Man. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm gonna go just get me a tank, bring it home, man. A gallon. That's what I meant, a gallon. That's more than a gallon. I'm gonna just go ahead and just get a gallon of real oil and bring it to my house, man. Cause I ain't paying no $5 for no oil, man. 48 listings here, as we can see, 5 pages. I mean, I'm surprised though. I thought this would go down to $1, your boy was gonna have a beautiful page worth of it with $10 post tax. But I was wrong. I mean, in the sense where this thing is actually, if you look at the charts, a V-shape recovering, guys. It's a V-shape recovering. As you guys can see here, trying to just hold that $5 price tag strong. And seems it doesn't want to give up. I mean, because when you actually read the card, it actually makes sense. I mean, it could have some meta implications, especially in the future. Yeah, it'll be the year of water. But again, we have bonfires. We have Promethean Princess. We have all these fire cards roaming around. Again, the Banlist is going to be the dictator of everything. But this card, I like it. I like the effect. I like the card, the name, the picture, everything. I want it, but I ain't paying no $5 for this one, that's for sure. Instead of getting this, I'll just go get a gallon and bring it home and just feel better about it.
Yes, no, that's such a good point. And like, this is one of those cards I actually like low-key thought it'd be like more expensive just because like the fire hype, but I'm glad it's not, because it's like salvage for water.
Yeah,
and it's only level 4 or lower. I guess it's like a little different stipulations than salvage, but it's okay, and like they already have to be in the grave. So like, I'm sure at some point in time there's gonna be like meta implications with this card. Maybe after we get like Flame Tongue, the magical blade or something. But I think this card will definitely kind of see a price drop. It's kind of like for me, I had like Time Tearing Morganite was one of those cards that was like sitting at 5 for so long. And I was like, man, can you just go down to like $2 so I could pick up a play set? I know it's not that much difference, but it's kind of like, it just never felt like that $5 card when players were like, I'm playing 3. No, I'm playing 2. Maybe I just want the one of, and it's like $5. So it's like, okay, man, I don't know. This is going to get reprinted as a prismatic secret, like you're aware of that, right? So it's like, I don't know. I kind of feel like oil is in the same regards as that. So hopefully, we actually see a price drop in oil so we can get it a little bit cheaper. But as you said, until then, we'll just settle for the real oil. So the real deal. And then so I'll be going into a couple cards myself that we've been actually looking at from the channel, and these are actually cards, I'm sure some of them we've actually brought up before on the channel together, but then a couple of them are ones we actually haven't brought up yet. And there's some from Battle Legends, some from like the Rarity Collection. So we'll just start with the first one, and that is Peri Ree's Map. And Peri Ree's Map is a card that essentially adds a monster with 0 attack from the deck to the hand, but you have your life points after you adding it, and like basically if you cannot normal summon or after. So yeah, after adding it to your hand until the end of the next turn after this card is activated, you cannot activate the added monster's effects or the effects of its name until you normal summon that monster or a monster with the same name. Okay, so kind of like where Arf now, it's a searcher for like the low level monsters. But what players are actually utilizing this map for is whenever the White Woods monsters start coming out, some players over in OCG started teching the Peri-Rees map as consistent ways to add the White Woods from the deck to the hand. And now we've actually been seeing that this card has seen a price bump already. Okay, when we go back a year, it was a 50-cent card. Okay, and that it really deters a lot of players, including myself, from ever picking up cards because it's like, oh, I could have gotten 3 for the price of 1, and it sucks. It really sucks. Okay, but as we see time and time again, especially with like these loner secrets, as we do have like a couple copies. I'll open that up real quick just so we can show everyone watching. We do have a rare from Amazing Defender, so don't think you're only gate kept into the secret rare copy. But as we know, people love to bling out their decks, and this is one of the cards that if the White Woods does become a meta relevant card, we could see the price spike even past the point we're at right now. And for a copy near mint first edition, you're looking at about $2.50 if you're buying multiple from one seller. But if you're getting from one seller, it's about $3.50 or a little bit more. But again, triple up from one seller, you'll pay less on that shipping. But for a secret rare card that might add some of the most like consistent decks out there to the hand, and once again, like White Woods over in the OCG did see a lot of playtime, it is not a surprise that we're going to be seeing that we are seeing an increase in this price, as well as a potential increase in the future. So the map is definitely the first card I'd like to bring up on the market watch today.
So I'll go ahead and just give my thoughts on this. I mean, I agree with your take. I mean, just based on the potential, I like speculating on cards like these. I mean, you only have 2 prints. Yeah, one was massively, overprinted with the rare and amazing defenders. But if you truly clean up, the listings there, like verified sellers only, near mint, and things of that nature, it's under 100 listings. So that rare, yeah, there's over 1,000 copies. There's a big wall of China. We get it. The supply is there. But again, these walls, all it takes is for the demand to come in, for this to be part of the meta. And you can see this quarter card become 2 quarters, 3 quarters, become a Billy, become a buck. You know what I mean? For the rare. So imagine what the secret could do. Going from $2 to $3, it could easily 3x to $10 to double digits into the teens. You know what I mean? So I like the potential of this one right now with the secrets. Yeah, you do see an RO15 right there at $2.50. But then after that, it quickly goes to 3s and beyond. So I like the possible meta implications that Vengeful just described. And then just again, max rarity, only 2 prints. I like this one, honestly. I do for sure.
Yeah, this is a card that it's like if players want to utilize this in any of those decks, you're going to have to be getting them sooner than later because they will pop. And I'm sure there'll be time they're like very much spiked up, and that's the time you want to have them. And it wouldn't surprise me because this is from Brothers of Legends and from an older one, so it will be on the chopping block for reprints. I do always like to say that part when it's time for those cards, but it will probably see an increase well before that time for a reprint. So for the players out there without the Peri-Rees maps, if you're looking into this card, any of your decks have monsters with 0 attack, or if you want the White Woods, this is a card definitely for you. But second card on the market watch from my end is Deck Lockdown. And again, this has been a card we've been following on the channel for quite some time. And again, the version we're looking at is the Dual Overload, the Ultra Rare. And again, when you go back a year, this card, I mean, it says 70, 50 cents, 70 cents. I remember sellers buying this for 30 cents because when I found it at $1, I was like, man, why didn't I like literally do this in Dual Overload? And a lot of players know Dual Overload was a great set with great rarity bumps for a bunch of cards, okay? And Deck Lockdown is definitely one of them. But as we're seeing, this card has gone up quite a bit. Again, I've seen it at 30 cents, 50 cents. We're all the way up to $2.20. And again, once you have that shipping, that's $3.20, okay? So it's like a $3 card. When you go a year back, we're seeing, it went up to about $1.60. People didn't think it was going to keep going up. It went up to $2.30. And again, people are probably unsure about this card. But with Konami on their kind of relentless tirade against floodgates, they're hitting summon limit, they're hitting skill drain. The next card that a lot of players will be utilizing besides Grave of the Super Ancient Organism is Deck Lockdown. And that is because a lot of players note that you can't add cards from the deck to the hand. But honestly, when I show this card to a lot of players, they don't even know that that the opponent cannot actually special summon from the deck, okay? So monsters cannot be special summoning from the main deck. A lot of players don't actually know that. And once they realize that is actually a side effect of Deck Lockdown, they're like, well, wait a minute. If I play this after I've done my turn, I basically win the duel, like we see with Skill Drain, like we saw with Summon Limit. So deck lockdown being that potential card to go into players' decks after some of these other floodgates get a little bit more hit on the list like we're expecting from Skill Drain, deck lockdown will be that next card to take their place. So that is why I think players need to be looking at it. And then the other thing I want to mention is why we're seeing a spike right now, and this is even for me, is I was really afraid we'd be seeing this card in Rarity Collection 2, which we did not. So deck lockdown, definitely a card that I'm just wanting to mention in today's Market Watch.
Yeah, I mean, great mention. Honestly, I mean, this is a card that I've talked about my market watches as well. I always that I see this card, I say it's a draw unlock bird on steroids. So I mean, what deck doesn't add cards? You know, what deck doesn't special summon from the main deck per se when it comes to meta decks? You know what I mean? So you slap this on the field, going, you side it in going first. It's broken. And then if they get rid of it, then they wasted at least a resource of getting rid of that. And if you have something else, then they have to deal with that as well. So again, this is the max rarity version. Just seeing that we have 3 prints for this, and all prints across the board are pushing $2 billies and above, $2 and above across the board. So honestly, look, even a common from Astro Pack 3. Get out of here. Don't pay no $2 for no man. No, you go for the ultra. You go for the ultra for the max rarity at this point. That's what I'd be doing. And if you go to the chart, if you put the yearly chart for deck lockdown, that is beautiful. On the channel, I always say men lie, women lie. The charts don't lie. I mean, you could get all the information that you need from this chart. You can literally see the stair stepping right there. It's stairs. It's stairs.
Yes, I love that, by the way. I love that take. That was the best thing I've ever heard. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, you see the chart and you see the stairs. That's good. If you're seeing stairs, that's a good sign. Why? Because that means you have legs up. What do you mean? Oh, Jay, why are you talking about legs? Basically, if you see the first upswing move in the chart right there where it went from 66 cents to $1 and some change, that's what we call over there in the channel the first leg up. That's the first spike. That's the first time that the card gets noticed and it goes on people's radar. People are like, oh my God, this is the max rarity. This is the ultra rare. This is the one that I want. I can't believe it was 66 cents, 2 quarters, maybe 1 quarter at one point, spikes up. Okay, goes to $1 billion, some change. Still cheap, $1, you know, who cares? Then it dumps down, retraces back down to the mean to about $1.24. People realize it's just too cheap. Come in, you got that second leg up status. You got that second, you know, price spike to new heights, to new all-time highs. Price discovery mode continues its parabolic advance move to $2.50. And then what does it do again? It consolidates. It goes sideways. Just chilling McMillan, and in the market determines price, supply and demand, things of that nature. Then it retraces a little bit to 227s. That's what does it do next? Third leg up status right now where we're at around $3, and it can continue going up. The trend is your friend until the end. You can't make it as more simpler than that. You can see it. Don't play against the trend. Just don't do it. You run for the hills when you see a price, you know, below $2. That's when you run. When you see consistent walls under $2, you run because it'll be a new pivot low. And then that's when you run, when the trend might change. But right now, I would be riding this thing up. You know, just continue waiting. Once we break that pivot low right there around 227s, then I would run for the hills. If not, we just wait. We sit on the sidelines because we play the trends. It's too easy. The game is, you know, like we say in the channel, it's too easy. It is, man. It is, honestly. Take it over, man. Do your thing, Ben.
I love you. It is too easy. It is too easy. And I love it all. I like everything you said. The trend, the friend, and then you trust only the charts. And I like that. That's a good one. No, beautiful card. And again, like whenever you see legs up, and I think this is something to like let people know, that first leg, people get so deterred about picking up stuff at that time, and I get it. Again, it's like you look back like, I could have got 3 for the price of 1, and I get it. But at least you're not paying 5s on them in the future, and that's like something a lot of players need to like really get used to of in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is if you didn't save as much money as you would have, I understand, but at least you're saving more now than you will in the future. And that's just something I want to like kind of harp on when we're talking about things like deck lockdown or the Perry's map, or like the Lancia you were talking about, or cards. When you see them go up, people are like, oh, well, why are you talking about that in the market watch? It already went up. It's like, well, I'm sorry I couldn't tell you in the 20 minutes it doubled in price. You know, like it gets a little hard on me too, man. You know, I'm editing this.
Of course.
So it's like, so it's like, I just got to mention that when we're talking about these cards, because like a lot of players get deterred, but you should not be deterred. If anything, they it should be like solidifying your decision that you need to get these cards and you need to get them now. But
Yeah.
following up the deck lockdown, next on the list, and actually this is a newer one, and this is kind of going to the terminal world as well as we were mentioning earlier, and that is Ace Spades Speculation. So talking about speculation, this is the perfect card because the materials to make this card are very interesting. It takes a monster with 2,500 or more attack, as well as one face down defense position monster with 2,500 or less defense. So a lot of players looking at this card, it's kind of like, well, what can I do with this with Super Poly? And when we're looking it up, we're seeing that you can fuse with your face down defense position monsters. So if your opponent has a monster with 25 or more attack and you have a monster in face down defense position, which is easy for you to set up, you can actually be fusing with opponent's monsters to go into this monster. And honestly, his effects are very, very good. So if he's in attack position, he gains attack equal to the highest original attack among the monsters your opponent controls, okay? And then when it's in defense position, it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. So given that its base stats are 2,500, 2,500, in attack mode, it's going to be clearing mostly anything off the board. And then when it's in defense mode, it's going to be a gigantic wall. So being able to super poly potentially a face-up monster off the opponent's board and then go into a wall of a monster, definitely something I could see in being utilized in the future. And now the best part about this card is the price. So when we actually go down to the charts, we are seeing this card sitting at 10 cents, 14 cents, 15 cents, and we have plenty of options to be buying them from, okay? So if you want a couple copies, go from one seller, you'll be good to go. So this card honestly only has one way to go, and that is up. Now, will it take a while for it to increase in price? I'm pretty sure it will. But in the years to come, or even just the months to come, whenever we see players starting to realize this card can be utilized, or even, hell, a lot of players are playing fusion decks themselves, they might even be able to make this card as a wall on their own board, just to make sure the opponent can't clear them for an OTK, you know, with decks like Tempai. So Ace Spade Speculation is definitely a card I wanted to bring up in today's Market Watch when we have one of the best Market Watchers on here, Yu-Gi-Oh! Fresh off the press.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, with this one, yeah, I like it. It's a penny stock. That's what I love. My favorite cards are penny stock. They just have that potential to go from 10 cents, to go from pennies to billies, to go from shekels to billies. That's what I like. I love cards like these. You see them today at dimes. No one's paying attention to them. No one cares about them. It says except Vengeful. People like Vengeful, you know, people like me. We love cards like these. You know, that's a great highlight by him because you can speculate. You can see the potential. And that's what you want. When you invest into penny stocks, you invest into potential. Not because today is any good, because the price is a reflection of that, but because it could be good in the future. So look, you see these massive walls of China at pennies, beautiful. That means you can come in for 50 cents, you can get a playset. For $1, you can get 2 playsets. That's fine. You slap that into the binder, forget about it, let it marinate like fine wine. You come back one day and the 10-cent card is 50 cents. That's 5x. A 10-cent card is a billy. That's 10x. And that's the thing. People lose sight of that. People's like, oh, 10 cents, who cares? I mean, you know, it's 10 pennies, boo-hoo. Yeah, but I mean, if you get 10 of these, you know, for $1 and they're $1 one day, that's $10. That's 10x. You know, if you get 100 of these, you know, I don't know if you're going to go that far, but you guys get the gist of it. It's still a 10x multiple of whatever amount of money you invest into this card. Again, if it's ever a billy. And honestly, as a secret rare from this set, from Terminal Revenge, just came out. No one's paying attention to this. If you clean up the listings there, you know, it's 91 listings only. That's not that much. I mean, for a card that probably people don't care about, they're not looking at right now. Honestly, if you love to speculate in penny stocks, you just get a place it. Just 30 cents, you know, maybe a little bit more post-tax. That's it. Honestly, for $1, just get more. Just put $1 in, man. With taxes and everything, find a way to put $1 in and just slap this card in a binder or multiples of these. Forget about it. You can come back one day and actually love the decision that you made. Thanks to Vengeful. So great call on this one.
Oh yeah, this is one of those cards where it's like, if you're missing just a couple cents or like $1 off of getting that free shipping, throw in some Spade Speculations. Just toss a couple of these in, because again, they're not gonna get lower. This is a card that once it's utilized in people's extra deck, once people realize like, hey, this is a card, they're gonna be going to it. And I even like forgot like a very important part of the effect, that when it's in the graveyard, you can actually tribute Yeah, you attribute one attack position monster and one face down defense position monster to special summon it back from the graveyard. So it even has recursion
That's
on
crazy.
top of that whole effect. So yeah, that's like the best part of it as well. So Ace Spade speculation, definitely one of the cards I wanted to speculate on in today's market watch. But that actually goes into some of our last two cards, and the second to last card is Magician Souls from the Rarity Collection as a quarter century secret rare. And as a player that was looking at this card whenever it was an ultra, and then as soon as the secret came out and dropped in price, I definitely went out, picked up a couple of copies of those. Those spiked in price past what the ultras were, if I am correct, just like a lot of players were kind of speculating the secrets would. And then again, as all things are, whenever it was announced in the Rarity Collection, the original Magician Souls did tank. But it is honestly surprising to me right now seeing these at the prices they were or that they are at, because we know Magician Souls is one of those cards that once it's utilized in the player base to a degree, especially in a combo line, the prices get a little crazy for them. So Magician Soul, definitely very fair price right now. If you need a copy, you're looking at about $20, $22, $23. Okay, it's not looking like you're gonna get anything cheaper than that, even some $24 ones. Okay, and this is actually up from the other day when I was first looking at it, from like $17, $18 a piece. Okay, so the player base is already looking at this card and realizing, wait a minute, how much were these back in the day? Yeah, let me go ahead and get some of those. Let me pick up my copies right now, because this card is a card that, again, once utilized in a meta deck, it's a level 1. We know what level 1s are doing right now. It will definitely be seeing an increase in price, and that is probably across all the rarities, not just the quarter century, but obviously we're talking about that because it is the main one that people are going to be wanting. So again, $24 for the Magician Souls, definitely up to you. I see it going up in the future, but I mean, that is, again, could be said that, like, hey, maybe it settles down a little bit after Nats, maybe it goes down a couple of dollars, but I do not see this card going down much lower than that $20 line before we see a price of it in the very near future. So what is your take on the Magician Souls from Quarter Century Secret Rare?
Sure. Basically, on the channel, we said the same thing. We talked about this card at 17s, even at 16s at one point, and we said this is too cheap. I mean,
Yeah.
people were paying 30s for the
Yeah.
secrets. People were paying $30 a pop for the OG secrets. They from Brothers of Legend. They're like, oh, this is max rarity, $30. Yeah, give me three. $100 post tax. Give me a playset. And now they saw these at 16. I mean, no way. This was gonna stay that low. We said it. You know, we definitely on our rarity collection 2 videos, we mentioned this quarter century secret rare, and we said this is free money down the line. I mean, we're already up almost $8 since that, $8 give or take from that low. I mean, it was too easy. Cards like these, especially in its max rarity form, they're going to be money. It's still cheap. It's still cheap, Jay, but I'm paying a premium now. It was 16s and now I need to pay 23, 24. It's still cheap. Yeah, you're paying a premium today, but compared to tomorrow, you're getting a deal. You know, if it goes from 24 to 50s, 40s or 50s one day, then you were getting a deal. You know what I mean? It's not about buying the absolute lows and or the high or selling into the highs. That's not the game. You want to take profits. It's all about entry price. You got in at $1, you sell at 2, live to fight another day. You run for the hills. Yeah, but Jay, it went up to $3, it's a 4. Yeah, sometimes you can wait a little bit and get that 3, 4, 5x, of course. But at the end of the day, the bare bones minimum, you want to make profits. You want to take profits, and that's the whole point. You're buying today. You need to think of your sell price tomorrow. Not that you could have bought it at 16s, but okay, I'm buying it at 24s. Could I sell it at 40s or 50s one day? Sure. I mean, the potential's there. Does that mean that it's going to happen? No. It's all about probabilities. The whole point is that when you see a card like this with meta implications in its max rarity form, there's no way that this was going to remain under a $20, under $20, $20 bill. That's what I was going to say. No way, no way, no way, no how. It's just too cheap. It's just a facts. And here we are, just like Vengeful was talking in his market watches, just like I was mentioning on our market watches. You see some cards and they have a dollar sign. You just know there's no way they're going to remain at those prices, especially, if you look at the chart, same deal. A lot of volatility. That means that the supply came in large, but the demand is too great, pushing this card's price up, so we expect all versions across the board, just like Vengeful said, to appreciate in price in the short-term future.
Yeah, no, and like you said, once you see certain cards, it's like money signs. It's like
Yeah.
love at first sight. Like you see it, your heart just like starts sputtering, and you're like, oh wait. You're like, oh, this is gonna be like 20, 30, $40. You click, it's like 5. It's like, Wait,
right?
how much is it? Like, wait a second. So yeah, that's definitely how Magician Souls was. You saw like the $18 mark, your eyes just kind of got bigger.
Facts.
Like, what?
Yeah,
Players, are we ready for this? Like,
yeah,
wait a
yeah.
minute.
Too cheap.
Yeah, so that's definitely one of the main cards we want to bring up, Magician Souls. And again, for the players out there who've been kind of like holding off on getting their copies, maybe they're like, oh, I want to kind of wait for it to go down. Maybe you're just looking at the Prismatic Secrets. Now is the time for both of those. I mean, Prismatic Secrets do look amazing of this card as well, but I would say like, either this version, that version. I don't think it really matters what version you're getting. Sooner is probably the better with Magician Souls, because once this card gets into the player base's eyes again, which it really starts rotating back into the player base very, very quickly, the prices are gonna go bananas. But that brings us to our last card on today's list, and that is none other than Polymerization. And again, quarter century rare from the 25th anniversary rarity collection 2. And now that's actually probably not a big surprise to a lot of players that we're talking about Polymerization, especially when we're seeing prices like this. So Poly, one of the just oldest school cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Literally like OG of the OG of the OG, okay? And now it is in the blingest of the blingest of the blingest rarity, okay? And it's about time. So we're seeing quarter century secret rare polymerizations. I'm pretty sure like we were looking at OCG copies of cards like that in like different rarities. We're like, man, we wish we had these over here. The best we have is an alt art or like a DT or something. And now we got these. So we got the quarter century secret rare polys. And as we were talking about, the prices are actually very, very fair. They're like $15 a piece right now, okay? And many players can debate like, will it go down closer to that 10 range? It might. I think it's closer to the 12 range would be like the lowest I'd see this card going. We know Konami, they love their fusion decks. They love all sorts of fusion archetypes. And then once in a while, they really love to include polymerization being a stipulation needed, or at least a bonus, as we saw with like Guardian Chimera, where if you have like polymerization, it does extra stuff. So in the future, I definitely could see polymerization, the quarter century secret rare, going up in price, especially given it is the fan favorite card. It's just going to be utilized. Even if you're playing older formats, polymerization is just that card you're including in the deck to bust out things like the Last Warrior or Absolute Zero, things like that in those older formats. You still needed cards like polymerization with the King of the Swamp. So Prismatic Secret, or so with the quarter century secret rare, honestly, again, I think in the years to come, this is just going to be one of those gems that players kind of forgot about and realize, wait a minute, why did I not pick up my high-end polys when they were that cheap that long ago?
I mean, just awesome take, honestly. I mean, you look at this card, it's just iconic.
Yeah.
It's one of the most iconic Yu-Gi-Oh cards ever printed. You see this card and you see Yu-Gi-Oh. You see fusion summoning since the dawn of time. You just look at this card and it has a money sign. I mean, the card is already green, so that's the first step. The second step is iconic. The third step, some meta application, maybe some branded here, branded there. So I mean, when you combine all this, I mean, again, dollar sign, that's money. The fact that it's 14, 15 bucks is criminal. How do I know? Oh, maybe that's just your take. Or how do you know it's gonna go up? I mean, you're mentioning it, that's not tangible. Go to the charts. Look, you see the charts, that's what you want to buy. You go to the 3-month chart, you see sideways action. You don't see, the chart going like spiking down, crashing into the dumpsters. You don't see it also spiking up yet. That's what you want to buy. You want to buy the blood in the streets. You want to buy, what no one's interested in this card right now. They're focusing, on the higher end cards, or, the Terminal Revenge cards, or Infinite Forbidden and the latest, greatest meta decks and cards, and this is coming out and that. People forget. When they forget, we like to remember. We need to remember cards like these. Again, 50 bucks post-tax is going to be cheap compared to the future. You're going to be able to get paid. People will need to pay $100 for this, for a playset of this, in a couple of months probably, and even more, as the years go by. Is the max rarity version? Sure. Can they reprint another max, a high rarity or OT polys or this or that? Anything is possible, but this still, from the rarity collection 2, will be a quarter century secret rare. Hard to get, looks beautiful for the masses, and again, the charts is all in the charts. You see that sideways action? You come in. That's what you want to see. We have a couple of weeks out. You don't see crazy movements. You want to come in now. You pick this card up now. Usually it's like quietly, no one's paying attention to it. That's when you come in. You sneak in like a thief in the middle of the night, coming to get his chips, his bag of chips, candy. You know what I mean? This is it right here, Polly. You need to pick this up. If you play the card, no excuses. Right here. Look at that. right there. Consolidation, sideways action on the 3-month chart. That's what you want to buy. You want to buy when there's loss of interest, when no one cares about it. Because when they do care, you're going to be that guy with some extra copies selling to them at way higher prices.
No, thank you so much. And this is definitely one of the cards that I do believe players need to be picking up sooner than later, just because, as we know, like as time goes on, they just become out of stock and players will never be able to find them ever again. So
Literally.
guys, if you got anything from the video, or if you liked any of the cards we mentioned here, do smash that like button. And if you're kind of wanting us to go over any cards in the future, comment them down below, because honestly, that is some of the most fun, is kind of seeing what some of the commenters and some of the viewers want to see covered. And sometimes they got some really insightful opinions on cards that will be going up in the future as well. But this has been amazing. My guest, Yu-Gi-Oh! Fresh off the press. And honestly, how do people find you again? Please tell everyone how to be supporting you and your channel.
Of course, man. Again, thanks for the platform. I had you on the channel. It was an amazing. I loved our chemistry, our vibes. I can't wait to have you again very soon. So if you're watching right now, this late into the video, you're a straight MVP, man. Make sure you swing by the channel. Make sure you subscribe. YouTube is our main platform. We just crossed 5K recently. It's been like a year and a half grinding daily videos, just putting in the time. I like to say grinding my way to success. At least until now, it's paid off. Hopefully, big things coming. I love collabing. With people like Vengeful. Recently had YGO Paisano on the channel. That dude is amazing. You guys should go check him out if you don't, if you haven't done so already. But again, I mean, you can find me on YouTube. That's our main platform. On the road to 10K, we'll continue to grind and to offer value. At the end of the day, people like Vengeful provides value. That's why I'm here. That's why he's on the channel. He knows what he's talking about. We don't play games. Hey, it's like I like to say, we do this for a living. You know what I mean? We don't like playing games. So that's why I love to have him on all the time, and love, this is my first time, but certainly not the last. I had a blast. Love our chemistry. And yeah, again, our YouTube channel, we have a link tree. You can go on there, take advantage of the links there. We have discount codes. We have a course, 5-minute investment guide there. Hey, we got to stop losing money out here. What else? We have our own Discord. We have it all, guys. So make sure you swing by, show some love to the channel. I would gladly appreciate it. And I can't wait for, for our future collab. We got to collaborate more, man. There's too many great Yu-Gi-Oh players out there. Just too many great Yu-Gi-Oh minds that don't know about, I found Vengeful is that dude. That's the GOAT. And then, Jay, who's that? Or me. They're like, Jay, we love you, but hey, you had Vengeful on? Who's that guy? I like him. Let's go sub. You know what I mean? It's all about, helping each other out and getting each other out in front of eyeballs, to make sure that the masses know that there's great people like Vengeful. There's great people like me out here just trying to grind our way to success, but more just positively impact people's lives. That's all I always say in the channel. That's what I'm here for, to positively impact people's lives by offering, that value that we tend to do on the daily. So if you can appreciate that, show some love, swing by. And again, brother, thank you so much for having me on. This is the first, but not the last, and I can't wait for next time for sure.
Hey man, I really appreciate you having you on. It has been a fantastic. Again, the chemistry is always great. The time I was on there, that was amazing as well. And to the fans out there, if you're enjoying this type of content, please show us the love. Smash that sub down below, and then go to YGO Fresh Off the Press's channel as well and show the love there. Drop that sub, and for those who already are, check out the content, share the videos, and like them as well. But guys, that is the end of the Market Watch. And we're going to be having more content flash up above. So if you want to be checking that out, please do so. But most importantly, everyone still out there watching, stay safe, have a good night, and suck it, nerds.